As you all know, I don't really talk much about thrash metal on this channel, but that's going to change today. In this video, I'm going to give you my favorite thrash metal albums of all fucking time. When it comes to thrash metal, I don't go out of my way to actively discover new bands. I'd rather listen to black metal, doom metal, even death metal. However, I recognize that thrash metal is a foundational genre of metal, and without it, many of the styles I love today wouldn't exist. Thrash metal is truly the pinnacle of metal, and it's respected by most within the metal spectrum. So today is the day where I reveal to you my favorite thrash metal albums of all time. Buckle up, because I got some great ones to share. Before I begin, I want to know what are your favorite thrash metal albums. Let's hear them. Now let's get started with my list. First up is Annihilator and the 1989 album Alice in Hell. This is my favorite Annihilator release, and it absolutely deserves a spot on this list. I love this album from start to finish with great fucking riffs, superb songwriting, and amazing guitar work by Jeff Waters, the mastermind behind Annihilator. The late Randy Rampage provides the fantastic vocals on Alice in Hell. Songs like Alice in Hell, with its memorable chorus, wicked mystique, and the fun guitar solo-laden word salad are standouts. And the album closer, Human Insecticide, is a perfect way to wrap up this thrash metal masterpiece. Alice in Hell is such a great fucking album all the way through. The riffs are crushing, the songwriting is top notch, and the musicianship is superb. It's easy to see why this is considered one of Annihilator's best and most essential releases. For any fan of thrash metal, this album is an absolute must listen. If you haven't heard Alice in Hell, what the fuck are you doing? Sodom's 1987 album Persecution Mania is a brilliant thrash metal record and one of my favorites. I just love the songwriting on this, with fast-paced moments mixed with doomy atmospheric sections throughout the songs. The guitar solos are relentless and the production is fucking fantastic. The vocals by Tom Angel Ripper have a more blackened edge, making this more of a blackened thrash sound, but it's still a thrash metal album at its core. You just have pummeling apocalyptic songs like Nuclear Winter, the solo crazy electrocution with infectious guitar riff, and the experimental Christ Passion and the furious Bombenhagel. Persecution Mania is just a fun, memorable fucking album, overall with some crazy thrash-orientated songs. While I'm not a big fan of Sodom's work in general, this particular album really stands out to me. Their songwriting, musicianship, and production all come together to create a thrash metal masterpiece that has stood the test of time. For any fan of the genre, Persecution Mania is an essential listen easily. If you want your head fucking smashed into a pulp, turn your eyes onto Morbid Saint and their 1990 release Spectrum of Death. This has become one of my favorite thrash metal albums for a reason. It's brutally heavy, with grooves mixed with relentless drumming and vocals reminiscent of Kreator. Yes, I said it, Kreator. A lot of the album sounds like something Kreator would do with a blackened tinge to it, but it's just so good. Lock Up Your Children kicks off the album and will throw you against a wall with those like guitar riffs and thunderous percussion. Assassin features shotgun-like snares. The shotgun-like snare work and the vocals are like those of a goblin, which I love. Burned at the Stake is another great fucking song with frantic solos and in-your-face rhythms. That groove in Damien will get your head bobbing, if nothing won't, on this album. Scars is another belter of the song. Beyond the Gates of Hell closes off this album. So good. It's so fucking good, so heavy and aggressive, and I love it. Death Angel's debut album, The Ultraviolence, is an incredible thrash metal masterpiece. Released in 1987, this record was far ahead of its time, showcasing a level of heaviness and intensity that was unparalleled for the era. The guitar riffs have a real ferocity to them, while the vocals veer into proto-fucking black metal territory with shrieked and guttural deliveries that push the boundaries of extreme metal back in the day. From start to finish, The Ultraviolence is a brilliant, relenting assault on the senses. Tracks like Evil Priest feature absolutely meaty, fucking crushing riffs that will have you headbanging mercilessly. The epic 10-minute instrumental Final Death demonstrates the band's impressive technical prowess and compositional skills with dizzying guitar passages and rhythmic shifts, and songs like Voracious Souls are simply thrash metal perfection, fast, furious, and utterly infectious. In my opinion, The Ultraviolence absolutely deserves to be considered a thrash metal masterpiece. The level of aggression and musicianship and innovation on display here is simply fucking staggering, especially when you consider the time period in which it was released. Death Angel were pushing the boundaries of what was possible in thrash metal, and the result is a landmark album, in my opinion, that has influenced countless bands for the decades since. For any fan, you'd fucking love it. This is a true classic that has lost none of its fucking power and intensity. This easily goes onto this list. It goddamn well deserves it. The Gathering by Testament is just amazing. What an incredible fucking album this is, with Dave Lombardo on drums, James Murphy on lead guitar, and Chuck Billy on vocals. This is a hard-hitting and heavy, very heavy thrash metal album. I will go as far as to say this is one of the heaviest thrash metal albums of all fucking time. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the album cover. The album cover is awful, but thankfully the music inside this album is amazing. This is the most aggressive Testament has sounded, and it's one of my favorite albums by the band. I just love how incredible the guitar riffs are on this, and how monstrous, like nearly death growls, Chuck Billy's vocals are. It's amazing to think that just a few years before, they had released the disappointing, dismal, demonic, and then they completely turned it around with The Gathering. You have hard-hitting songs like DNR, Do Not Resuscitate, Eyes of the Wrath, True Believer, the short and heavy Legions of Death with an infectious fucking guitar melody, Riding the Snake, the crushing Stone Shut Eyes, and Hammer of the Gods. Hammer of the Gods, I don't think it was even part of the album. I think it was a bonus track. With that Hammer of the Gods with that hypnotic guitar lead and insane drum fills, what an incredible album this is. That's why it's one of my favorites. One of my favorite thrash metal albums of all time is from the band Artillery, and they are from Denmark. They are a fantastic thrash metal band, and they released one of my favorite thrash metal records of all fucking time, By Inheritance. What an incredible album this is, a mix of heavy metal along with the brilliant thrash metal you're getting from this. The riffs are infectious, and it's just one banger song after another banger song on this. It's melodic and catchy, and I love the vocals on this, as Fleming Rinsdorf's range is incredible, which adds new dynamic layers to the album. The riffs are so good, as are the drums. Amazing songs like Go Maniac, Beneath the Clay, R.I.P., the hard-hitting thrashing Bomb Food, and the progressive thrasher Don't Believe with the soaring vocals in the chorus. You get mouth-watering guitar solos like the one in Life Bondage. In my opinion, every song on this album is fucking memorable. No shit. The album was released in 1990, and to me, this is a classic album, one of my favorite thrash metal albums of all time. I mean, how can you not bang your head to Equal at First and Back in the Trash and a self-titled track By Inheritance with that mouth-watering shredding? Hello, how can you not? When I first heard Slayer's Hell Awaits, I couldn't believe what I was listening to. This has always been an amazing album for me. Released in 1985, this thrash metal record paved the way for many bands. Although I could have had chosen Rain and Blood, I feel I wouldn't be entirely honest if I picked that album over Hell Awaits. I've always liked Rain and Blood, but to me, Hell Awaits is slightly better. It was the first Slayer album I heard and I was instantly amazed. From the eerie intro of the title track, Hell Awaits, and those thrashy riffs with soaring solos to Praise of Death, and its scorching hot leads and Tom Aray's vocals. Every song on this record is just fucking incredible. Necrophiliac is a banger, as are Crypts of Eternity and Kill Again. The drumming by Dave Lombardo, Lombardo's on it again, is terrific, with fills and accents that make the songs even more interesting. Hardening of the Arteries, what a way to end off this album. So dark and ominous with those black metal type guitars. Love this album. It's dark, atmospheric, and has a very evil sound. You can't go wrong with Metallica's earlier years, but my favorite thrash metal album by them is, of course, Ride the Lightning. This is just a fucking masterpiece of an album. I love it from start to finish. The thunderous drumming and those riffs are amazing. Songs like Fight Fire with Fire, For Whom the Bell Tolls, a classic that every metalhead should know, and Fade to Black with its amazing solos are standout. Ride the Lightning will easily make you headbang with its intro. Trapped Under Ice has an infectious chorus, and Creeping Death is probably my favorite Metallica song. Creeping Death. The Call of Cthulhu showcases incredible compositions and an amazing instrumental. Ride the Lightning is just a hard-hitting record released in 1984. They were so ahead of their time on this fucking album, and has probably inspired millions of bands. This album has. It's a masterpiece. The flourishing guitar passages, the drumming, and Hetfield's vocals are just incredible. What an incredible album. Released in 1990, this album is so many people's favorite thrash metal record of all time. It was for me for a very long time, and still one of my favorite thrash metal albums to this day. We'll talk about the riff master Dave Mustaine's Megadeth and the album Rust in Peace. What an amazing album this is. Need I say more? In fact, I wouldn't hesitate to call it a masterpiece. I absolutely love all the songs on Holy Wars. The Punishment is Due is so good with those groovy guitar riffs and the quick solos. Hangar 18 with its thunderous middle section, solos in between. The melodic thrasher, Techno Prisoners, Techno Shit. Five Magic with that eerie intro, and then it builds up, frantic solo, so good. An amazing solo in Tornado of Souls. Every song is a highlight of Rust in Peace, and it's just an amazing 40-minute thrash metal album. The guitars are just singing on this record. Mustaine's vocals are really good too, heavy and in your face. This is just an incredible album from start to finish, and it's definitely one of my favorite all-time thrash metal releases. There are just guitar solos every fucking where, sharing loads from Friedman and Dave on this album, and it's just a fun fucking album overall. I also just love how prominent the bass work is on this. Allison's bass work is amazing on this. That's something a lot of bands tend to miss when it comes to the bass, but Megadeth really showcase it here on Rust in Peace. And now my favorite album of all time, thrash metal album of all time, Pleasure to Kill by Kreator is a masterpiece in thrash metal. It's more on the side of death thrash side, but it's still firmly rooted in thrash metal. Pleasure to Kill is still incredibly heavy to this day, which is mind-blowing considering it was released in 1986. I love the guitar work on this album, the thunderous drumming on Death Is Your Savior, and those incredible drum rolls, the frantic guitar work on the title Pleasure to Kill, dun, 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 and the melodic hooks on the same song. song, so melodic. Miller's vocals are vicious and intense with prototype death growls. Songs like the hard-hitting Riot of Violence, The Pestilence, the insane solo in Carry On, and that groovy riff and the vocals on Under the Guillotine still give me goosebumps to this day. There are just so many memorable songs on Pleasure to Kill. This album is my favorite thrash metal record of all time. I don't think anyone can beat this for me. Kreator have always been great, but they were the greatest in the early years, releasing amazing album like Pleasure to Kill. I love how heavy and intense this album is. The guitar sounds like it's having a schizophrenic episode on Riot of Violence, and that chunky riff is just relentless. Yeah, this album is amazing, and it's definitely one of my all-time favorites. In fact, it is my favorite thrash metal album of all time.
From your lips as you die, make the distraction to me. Shot to kill.
So yeah, let me know what you thought in the comments below. Let me know your favorite thrash metal albums down below. It's been fun, and I'll see you in the next one.